These people survived parachute fails. In 2022, after this base jumper leaped off a cliff, his parachute twisted, causing him to slam into the rock at 50 miles an hour.
My number one kind of goal was to keep my head from hitting, right? I don't want to be knocked out.
As he kept falling, he used his feet to brace himself. Afterwards, Stephen Fabian spoke to 29-year-old Johnny DeJulius.
Do you feel like you cheated death here?
I didn't really think about, am I going to make it? You don't have time to think about stuff like that.
After landing in a rocky crevice, he grabbed his phone and called his buddies who had already landed.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm just hung up. I can climb down, but I'm gonna have to ungear. It's gonna be sketchy.
He eventually climbed down the cliff with no ropes or safety harness, and luckily no injuries.
Base jumpers, you guys got a screw loose, that's for sure.
Yeah, we know.
3, 2, 1, see ya!
In 2020, a base jumper crashed into the side of a high-rise apartment building in Acapulco, New Mexico. The accident left him dangling helplessly and hanging on for dear life.
Oh, that sucks.
Then this lady came to his rescue.
I see you.
I'm okay.
Do you want a glass of water?
No, thank you.
That lady was a sweetheart, very helpful, kind, and nice. Sorry for scaring her.
Do you want a glass of water?
No, thank you.
In 2017, Santa went skydiving and ended up in the hospital. The incident happened at a charity event in Florida. Santa was supposed to make a dramatic entrance to hand out gifts to children. Instead, things took a turn. He crashed into a tree and light pole before landing on the beach and breaking his leg. Afterward, he needed surgery for all his injuries. In 2015, an experienced skydiver had the scare of his life when jumping out of an airplane in Peru. While Fernando Gava was getting ready to freefall out of the plane, his jumpsuit got caught on the exit step, leaving him dangling upside down. He remained stuck to the plane for 30 minutes at 10,000 feet in the air. Fernando managed to cut his pant leg off using a hook knife that skydivers always carry. He was then able to deploy his reserve parachute and land safely. And boy, was he lucky. His only injury was a minor cut on his hand from the knife he used to free himself. In 2024, Jordan Hatmaker shared the story about her skydiving accident.
When I pulled my parachute, the pilot chute, which is the small chute that comes out before the main canopy, it wrapped completely around my right leg multiple times. So my main parachute didn't come out. I just went into survival mode when it wrapped around my leg and the main parachute wasn't out. I just went into survival strategy mode, like, okay, how can I get myself out of this situation? I have got to get this off of my leg. Well, hindsight's 2020, I should have pulled my reserve parachute. However, I thought that I had a lot more time than I did. I miscalculated that, and because I was new, I didn't pull my reserve parachute like I should have. I tried to get it off of my leg by just like pulling it off my leg or like trying to unwrap it. But by the time I was finished trying to do that, the automated reserve parachute fired. So the reserve canopy did work for a few seconds. I had control of it. I steered away from the runway because I was like headed straight for the runway, the asphalt, and I had enough time to just steer it away from the runway and into the grass. However, the force from the reserve parachute coming out, it actually made the main canopy come out of its bag where it was stuck this whole time. And then the two canopies like dragged away from each other and then started spiraling. So it's called a down plane when that happens. It all happened really quickly. So when I was headed towards the ground, I was just thinking, this is really gonna hurt. I didn't think that I would sustain the injuries that I had. I was at Norfolk General for a month. So besides my breaking my back and my leg, the spinal cord injury was the worst injury. The doctors weren't sure what my prognosis would be. And, you know, doctors are a little hesitant to say exactly what your recovery is going to be. They just said, we're not sure if you're gonna walk again, but you can move your toes a little bit now. And so we're thinking that this is great progress. You might regain some feeling in your legs and your lower body, but it's gonna take time. I was super optimistic I would recover. I didn't ever see a chance that I wouldn't. 2.5 years later, I still have some side effects from the spinal cord injury that if anybody's had a spinal cord injury, they know that there's some internal organ dysfunction that normally happens, and I'm still dealing with that.
In March of 2025, former instructor David Hartsock shared a story about surviving a skydiving accident.
And unfortunately, the way the parachute was packed when it came out, and the opening shock just slammed us. It was like hitting a concrete wall. And it stunned me for a second. Or you get a bad opening and it's total malfunction. Because I'm looking at the canopy up there and go, what a mess. And thinking, okay, this is going to be my first total malfunction. No problem. We're bouncing and being tossed all over. And Shirley goes, is this normal? And I'm like, no, we got a little problem, but I got it. So, very well, I ain't got this. This is bad. This is very bad. And every second, we're gaining speed going around in circles. I figured, well, I'm going to fire the reserve parachute, and there's two things going to happen. Either one is going to deploy cleanly, that'll give me a chance to get the cutaway handle and pull it and everything will be fine, or it's going to deploy, it's going to get tangled up in the other pile of mess, and then we're going to have two piles of messes. And sure enough, it went up and tangled around the other one. And it's just like, oh, great. Now what do you do? And nothing's working. Shirley keeps asking me, is there anything I can do to help? I'm looking all over the ground. It's like, okay, where are we going to land? What I'm going to try to do is tell her to pick her legs up, swing my legs up to hers. I'll pull both sets of brakes from both canopies tight around my hand. And they pull down on everything as hard as you can and try timing your swing. Get her legs up at the last minute that I'll land and she'll land on top of me. I figure we're both dead anyways, but might as well try this. At least one of us might survive. I'm thinking about trying to save her from dying in front of her family. Lift your legs. And I yanked down on those lines as hard as I could. Wound up dislocating both arms. The farmland is like concrete. We hit the ground and I'm stunned for a minute. And then I heard Shirley and she goes, can we get up? I'm thinking, she's alive. Try reaching up to undo the hooks to unhook her from my harness. And it's like, well, I don't feel my right arm. Don't feel my left arm. I'm either stunned or maybe I broke my arm. So she's laying on the arm. I told her, let's just wait for the ground crew to get here. And that was it. That's the last day I remember. Woke up a month and a half later. Apparently I died 3 times. And they brought me back. 2 months in ICU, 2 months in a long-term rehab facility, and then another 2 months in tears before I came home. This is what my voice wound up sounding like because the trach can cause some formation on the vocal cords. Being a quadriplegic is no picnic. There's lots of things that go on that you have to adjust to. You obviously can't be as active, and it's the price you pay for fame. Even positive or doing the right thing can have negative consequences. This is just a consequence of doing the right thing.
Things didn't go as planned with the stuntman during the Champions Cup rugby game in France in 2025. The parachutist was to make a grand entrance in a display just before the game started. But instead of a graceful landing, the chute got caught on the roof of the stadium, tearing the fabric apart and leaving the parachutist in limbo. Crews rushed to put cushions under him in case the chute completely gave out and caused him to fall. However, it proved to be quite sturdy, keeping him suspended until the fire brigade could come and get him down. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.